Welcome back! In our last explainer, we saw how a constitution is kind of like a nation's soul, its history and its values all written down. But what happens when that soul, well, when it changes? Today, we're going to dig into the incredible process of rewriting a nation's rules when the people decide the old story just doesn't fit anymore.
So what do you do? It's a huge question, right? Imagine you're playing a game, but everyone finally agrees the rules are just totally unfair. To keep the game going, you can't just make a few small changes, you need a whole new rulebook. Well, that's pretty much exactly what happened in Nepal, and their story is such a powerful example of what this looks like in the real world.
You see, for a long time, Nepal's entire system was built around its monarchy. So the constitution, their rulebook, reflected that. All the power was centered on one person, the king. It was a world of subjects, not citizens.
And think about this for a second. Even the 1990 Constitution, which came after a big push for democracy, still gave the final say to the king. After decades of struggle, the people of Nepal looked at this and said, nope, this isn't us. This isn't the future we want. That old rulebook just wasn't going to cut it for the democratic country they were fighting so hard to build.
And I gotta tell you, this was not some quick, overnight revolution. It was a long, tough, hard-fought journey that took years and years to unfold. Let's take a look at the timeline. What's really fascinating here is the back and forth. You see this win for democracy in 1990, but then the king manages to grab that power right back. But the real game changer? That happens around 2005-2006. All these different political groups, who didn't always agree, decided to unite, and that created this massive, unstoppable movement that finally, in 2008, led to the official end of the monarchy.
So, just like that, the monarchy is gone, and Nepal is a fundamentally different country. It's now a democratic republic. That means it absolutely needs a new constitution, a new set of rules to match this huge shift in power, from the palace to the people.
And wow, this slide right here really gets to the heart of it. Just look at the wording. The 1990 Constitution says power is with His Majesty the King. But jump to 2015, and power is vested only in the Council of Ministers, who are chosen by the people. That's not just some tiny legal change, that's a political earthquake. It's sovereignty moving from one man to millions of citizens.
So you see, the new constitution was way more than just a legal document. It was a declaration. It defines Nepal's brand new identity as a democracy. It guaranteed rights and equality, and it made one thing crystal clear. The ultimate power in the country comes from the will of its people, not from a crown.
All right, so Nepal's story is all about a nation changing from the inside out. But what happens when the need for a new rulebook comes from breaking free from an outside power? For that, we've got to turn to another incredible story, the creation of India's constitution.
I mean, imagine living for generations under rules that you had absolutely no say in making. That experience created this one undeniable goal: a free India had to be democratic, equal, and run by Indians for Indians. But man, what a challenge. How do you possibly write a single rule book for a place so massive and so diverse?
Well, that enormous task fell to a group called the Constituent Assembly, which started its work back in 1946. And this wasn't some small committee meeting in a back room. We're talking about a group of around 300 leaders representing the entire amazing tapestry of India's communities, regions, and languages.
And they were all in. For 3 long, intense years, they debated every single word, every single clause. Their mission was to create a document that could not only hold the nation together, but also actively fight for social justice for every single citizen.
You know, right in the middle of all these historic debates, there was one person whose vision and brilliant mind were absolutely crucial to the final document: Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Today, he's known as the father of the Indian Constitution.
And this is what made Dr. Ambedkar's thinking so powerful. He understood that a fair rulebook isn't enough if the people enforcing the rules are biased. As you can see in this quote, he argued that just writing laws about equality means nothing if the system is still run by the very same people who benefited from the old, unequal ways. He argued that for things to really change, the very people who'd been historically shut out of the system needed to have a real seat at the table. They needed to be in the system, helping to run the country. So what's the big takeaway here? Whether it's a revolution against a king from within or a freedom struggle against an empire from without, we see this one amazing truth. A constitution isn't just dry legal text. It's the story a nation decides to tell about itself, about who has power, about what it values, and about the future it's trying to build.
So, after 3 years of nonstop work, what did they come up with? What are the core principles that have guided the world's largest democracy for over 75 years? Well, you're going to have to join us for our next explainer, where we will dive deep into the key features of the Indian Constitution. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.